Felicity from Get Your Rock Out, and I'm here chatting to Dave from Revocation. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking.
Fantastic. I'm really glad to hear it. And you guys have just come to the end of kind of some UK dates at the moment.
Yep.
How have they gone so far?
Well, we did London last night, and it was really incredible. There's like 1,600 people, Halloween night. There's a bunch of people dressed up. I saw a dude dressed up like a giant cock and balls crowd surfing. So that was hard to focus and play and sing at the same time seeing that, but it was just a really incredible show.
I'm really glad. I've seen that you caught up with the guys from Aborted as well at some point recently.
Yeah, actually, a couple of the guys live in different places in Europe, so we played in Zwolle, Netherlands, and a bunch of the dudes came out for that gig, and then Sven came out in Belgium, so we had a double dose of Aborted on this tour.
Very nice. So that's what we like to hear.
Yeah.
I had a lovely interview with them at Bloodstock actually, and they were being all serious and sensible. And then a wasp came along and got stuck in my hair. And I've never seen two grown men be so scared of anything. And I just got them on camera going, "But we can't touch it. We're scared of wasps." It was highly entertaining.
Sometimes the most brutal people have,
Yeah, screamed like girls.
That's
They
right.
did. It was great.
That's right.
So next time you see them, just take a fake wasp along and watch them run.
That's a good idea. I'll have to carry a jar of bees with me from now on.
I think so.
Yeah.
You know what? You should do that anyway. To be honest, that would be pretty cool. It's like, this is me and this is my jar of bees.
I could add to it maybe like a whole new persona I can create for myself.
Good. You
Guitar, vocals, beekeeper.
This is perfect. And you wouldn't even need to explain it. You could just put this jar on stage, not make reference to it once, and when you finish the show, just pick it up and walk off.
When you got to save the bees too, because I hear they're dying everywhere. So
Yeah,
it might raise bee awareness. Maybe it might inspire more people to,
Jars of bees.
screw the music thing. Don't pick up the guitar. Don't be in a band. Be a beekeeper. That's the world needs that now.
I think that we've got some kind of fantastic plan going on right here.
I think it's foolproof.
Cannot see any problems with this plan whatsoever.
Solid.
But yeah, it's great to see you guys at Damnation. I'm guessing that you're hugely looking forward to the entire day.
Yeah, it's great to be part of this fest. So many awesome bands, 4 stages. I heard there's 3,500 people here, so it's going to be a good one. Yeah.
Definitely. And I think it's this festival, it's just grown and grown each year, and it's such a festival that really books the bands that people actually want to see and who they really love. It's always an interesting one.
Yeah.
And is there anybody else that you're really, really desperate to catch today, or have you basically seen everybody here?
Well, there's actually a lot of bands I haven't seen before in this fest, so, Bolt Thrower, it's going to be awesome to see them. I think everyone is, anticipating seeing them.
Yeah.
Be cool to check out St. Vitus, be cool to check out Orange Goblin. I want to check out Woden's Throne. Code would be cool to check out. We get to see Cannibal Corpse and Aeon every night, so we're a little bit spoiled when it comes to that. But, those are a bunch of bands I'm looking forward to seeing. And maybe I'll check out some random stuff and just walk into a room and, whoa, who's this? So you never know.
Yeah, it's often the way, and you end up finding somebody and you're just like, holy shit, this is amazing.
Well, that's the cool thing about the underground. I do so much sort of researching of bands online and stuff, but it's cool to do it at a festival where you're actually seeing them live and in the flesh. And you might not know a band, then you walk away and they're like, oh wow, I got to pick up a T-shirt now or whatever.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so do you still make sure that you kind of keep up to date with what is going on in the underground scene still?
Yeah, very much so. It's just sort of always been a part of. What I think is cool about metal is there's just so many bands that are, if you just dig a little bit deeper, because what drew me to metal in the first place was, it wasn't, force-fed, homogenized music to the masses. It was, you kind of had to dig a little bit, but once you did, whether you're in the thrash scene or the death metal scene or the black metal scene, there's all these bands, and sometimes one band leads you to another. I used to get, buy CDs, sometimes they were out of print, I get them off eBay, and then go through the thank you sections and find different bands and then look those bands up and all that kind of stuff. So, it's still very much something that's been ingrained in me, is that sort of that quest for the hidden gems out there.
It's fantastic. It's really nice to hear as well. You just get so many people that, especially once you've been kind of touring a while, and they're just like, no, we're just going to sit here. We're not going to do anything else. And, we know who we know, and we're not going to look into anyone else. And I just think you kind of lose all feel for what it's about, actually, when it gets to that stage.
Yeah. Yeah, it's finding new music that really, inspires me is something that I always try to strive to do. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, that's really, really good to hear.
It's like collecting, I don't know, like cards or something. You know what I mean? You have to find out the band that.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, it's true. Actually, my entire musical taste, it's changed so dramatically from 10 years ago when I first started getting into all this kind of thing. Because you just lead on, and you ended up being something completely different to what you thought, and you're just like, oh, okay then, so this is what I like.
Yep.
It's wonderful. And the new album, tell us all about it. How are you feeling about it?
We're all incredibly pumped on the record. I personally think it's our best one to date. It's probably I think it has the most death metal vibe of any record that we put out. We're always sort of a mixture of death and thrash metal, but I think the death metal influence is more at the forefront. But it's also a very diverse record as well, so it's got a lot of variation in terms of vocal styles and stuff like that. And I think it's a record that you have to sort of sit down and listen to from start to finish to really get the full scope of our sound. Sometimes people say like, oh, you sound like this, or you sound like that, and I think sitting with the whole record, you get a good picture of what the band is all about.
And do you think it's the best one because you prefer the death sides of what you do, or do you just think that as a whole it's a more comprehensive view of what it is?
Well, I think that we've progressed as songwriters and as players with every release, and we've just sort of gotten better at honing our craft. I can say from just a technical standpoint, the playing is the best that we've ever laid down, and I think the songs, just the way they're crafted, everything feels really cohesive, and just has a really good flow to it, and feels like a really just cohesive album. So.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's lovely. I think it's when you kind of come out with something that you're really, really, really happy with. There's just no better feeling.
Yeah.
And is there, the reaction that you've had so far, how have people taken to it?
The reaction has been overwhelmingly positive. Fans have really gotten behind it, and critics alike. I've seen a lot of critics say this is our best record yet, which is good to see. We write music for ourselves first and foremost, but it's always nice when the record does come out and there is that that embrace, because you really don't know. You're kind of biting your fingers like, oh, I hope people like it. But people really really dug it, and now it's interesting seeing when the last record came out, there wasn't as social media is exploding in all these different ways, but we're on like Instagram now, and I'm seeing people like tagging the record and hashtagging different things. So it's cool to see that you can kind of tap into a buzz about an album in different ways. So it's interesting to see that, like how many people are posing with their albums and stuff like that, which is cool. It's like, oh, someone went out and bought it, and they feel like they want to give us a shout out or whatever. So that's nice.
It's lovely, and it must be. Do you ever feel? Does it ever kind of get a bit overwhelming, and you're just like, actually, we've got all these fans now who are expecting this. What if we can't deliver on this? Is that something that is a concern, or do you never really feel that?
I don't really think about that kind of stuff. I think the reason that our fans like the band is because we're sort of uncompromising and do things on our own terms. So if we're going to start thinking about pleasing other people, I think if you try to write music to please other people, somewhere along the line you're going to fall short, because your fan today might not be your fan tomorrow for whatever reason. So, but if you maintain your own integrity and feel really passionate about the music that you're putting out, you're always going to be satisfied with the end result, because it's what you wanted to do. And your taste may change, and you might look back and say like, oh, I wish I did something a little bit different or whatever. But still at the end of the day, it came from a real place, so you can only be happy with that result.
Fantastic. I was interviewing a band last night actually, and they've re-released some of the first ever demos that they did, and they've kind of re-recorded, but from the standpoint of where the band is now. Is that something that you'd ever even think about doing, like doing the first album but how you're feeling now, or even just like a track or two, just to see how that emotional thing has developed?
Yeah, it might be cool to do a track or two, but like with the first record, like we had done like demos and stuff like that before it even came out. So and then you're kind of recording a song for the third time. I would personally rather move on to uncharted territory rather than try to do something from the past. Unless I was just really unhappy with like the recording quality, but I'm happy with the way all of our albums sound, and I think they all have a good production. I think they've all progressively sounded better throughout the years in terms of just getting the right sounds and stuff like that. But I'm happy with the way all our records sound. I'm happy with the way they've all come out. So personally, I'd rather just focus on new stuff. Yeah.
In the next 6 months or so, what's on the cards?
Probably more touring. I mean,
What a surprise.
yeah. We're only halfway done with like this European tour. This is the longest European tour we've done by far. It's like usually we're over here for about a month, but this one's like a good 6 weeks. So we still have a ton more dates to do. Then we fly over and do Asia. We're playing in China. We're playing in Singapore. We're doing Thailand. And then we fly directly to Australia and are playing in Australia for like a week and a half. So we're not going to be home until like Christmas. So probably take a little bit of a break, because we did a month-long tour with Crowbar prior to this European tour, so we've been out since September. So it'll be nice to have a little bit of a break, but then I'm sure we're probably going to hit it hard either in like the late winter or early spring, or pick things back up in the spring. So.
Fantastic. Well, we will hugely look forward to that then. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat. It really has been a pleasure, and I have no doubt that we'll see you later on.
For sure.
Thanks.
Bye.